Welcome to 49ers After Dark. As you can see, it is quite dark in Tampa, Florida. It's a little dusky out here in the Bay Area, but we're going to go with it. Today we're going to talk. I'm Grant Cohn. This is Jesse Naylor. How you doing, Jesse?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing good. I want to talk about like the ideal moves going forward. Now that the first wave is over, what the Niners should do before the draft and these next couple of weeks. But let's build up to that.
Okay.
Let's not give the people what they want right away. Let's start with the news of the day. The thing that all Niner fans are really excited about right now, Joe Flacco coming to the 49ers. Honestly, the guy, if they're looking for a backup who has starting experience, he's won like 90-something games. He has experience. Anyway, there's reasons to like it. He probably would play for like $1 million if he signs. But forget that. What does their interest, if they were to sign Flacco, what would that mean for the rest of their offseason? Would they be done looking for quarterbacks? Would that be it? Flacco?
I would say, yes, through free agency, they're definitely done. I was shocked that they didn't sign Trubisky, especially after it came out today that Trubisky signed for $2.5 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
Why would you not bring Trubisky on? That doesn't make any sense at all. I thought he fit perfect with what Shanahan would be looking for, but apparently I'm wrong. So, yeah, I would say as far as free agency goes, I hope it doesn't mean that they're not going to draft a quarterback, because if you bring in Flacco, you've got technically a full quarterback room. So does that mean you're not going to draft a guy all of a sudden? I'm not quite sure.
That makes me nervous, because it's like you bring in Flacco to be the number 2 guy. Josh Rosen would be the number 3 guy, but the number 3 guy gets like no reps in training camp. So you wouldn't even really be developing Josh Rosen. Would he be on the team? So you push off a young kid. You don't draft a quarterback to bring in Joe Flacco. That seems pretty bleak. That can't be the plan.
Yeah.
They got to draft a quarterback, right?
My whole thought was, if you brought in Trubisky, then that's a way to bridge away from Jimmy. And then you could still draft a quarterback.
I agree.
You bring in Flacco, you cannot bridge from Jimmy and then draft a quarterback. So that does worry me. Why not just go with Rosen as your backup quarterback? He's got to be good enough for that role. I would assume if you re-signed him, there was something there that you liked about him. So why not just bring him back and let him play that backup role?
What they're going to do is like, well, we're looking for a guy who's got a winning record, a guy who can win. Because our problem is we don't win without Jimmy Garoppolo. Joe Flacco has got a winning record. Yeah, like 10 years ago.
Yeah,
he hasn't been winning recently. The last 4 or 5 years, he was on a really good Baltimore team, held him back. As soon as they got rid of him and put in Lamar Jackson, they took off. I'm with you. How much better is he really than Rosen? It just seems like something they could sell. Like, well, he won a Super Bowl. He's won games. If we lose Jimmy Garoppolo, what's the difference between Jimmy and Joe Flacco, really?
Yeah.
I can see them saying that.
The thing is, though, too, is that Trubisky signed a complete backup role. The likelihood of Josh Allen getting injured is slim to none.
Right.
If he came to San Francisco, there's a chance that he's going to play some games. Even if you're not the starter, you could easily sell him for the same salary. Jimmy's going to get injured. We're going to need you at some point. You will play for us, and you'll be able to showcase your talent. And who better to do that for other than Shanahan? So that tells me that they probably really actually never even kicked the tires on Trubisky.
Yeah, what is that? It seemed more like Trubisky was interested in the Niners.
Yeah.
And the Niners didn't share the interest because they were more interested in Joe Flacco.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
And again, maybe the worry was, well, if you bring in Trubisky and he is better than Jimmy right now, how do you really start Jimmy? And are we ready to make that move and switch away from Jimmy? I don't know. I don't know what the worry was there or what the reasoning is there, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to me to bring in Joe Flacco.
No. And final question with Flacco, is it possible that they would see him as like, look, sign Flacco, draft a quarterback in round 1, make it clear that we want that rookie to start right away, but if he isn't ready, we have Flacco backing him up or starting for the first month and then Jimmy's gone. Can you even use Flacco that way?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
He's at best number 2 on the depth chart. And if you draft a quarterback and get rid of Jimmy, the quarterback has to start right away. He's not even bridge quarterback status. He's just backup quarterback.
Right.
But there's something I remember, like Kyle likes Matt Schaub or liked Matt Schaub.
Yeah.
And Matt Schaub was very heavy-footed. And I remember Kyle once said, a lot of people think I want mobile quarterbacks because of the bootleg thing. Like, well, I had a lot of success with Matt Schaub running bootlegs, and I felt like it worked so well because everyone thought he was not mobile, and no one really thought he was going to keep the ball and take the bootleg. So no one really honored it. I remember he always said, it's like, maybe it's not a coincidence that he's gone after Josh Rosen, CJ Beathard, Nick Mullen. I mean, like guys who you would not consider mobile at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think that does kind of remedy that exact thought, because Trubisky definitely is mobile and Flacco's is not. So we've made a lot of assumptions on what type of quarterback the Niners would want in the draft. Mm-hmm. And we were all kind of hoping for somebody that's a little bit mobile, but he's still telling us that that's not necessarily what he's looking for.
Yeah, that's the next question. What does Flacco reveal about the type of quarterback Kyle's looking for? I think it may reveal something. Just look at the guys that are on the roster.
Yep.
Flacco, potentially. Rosen, yes. Garoppolo, yes. And he's going to want Justin Fields.
No.
I don't think so.
If he wants Justin Fields, why wouldn't you bring in a Mariota, who just got cut today, by the way?
Yes.
That's who you'd be looking at is
right. Why didn't you bring in Cam Newton when he was available?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess the trash train is still in full effect, is what I
think the trash train is definitely in effect. Yeah. I don't think Kyle looks at him and says he's not mobile enough. I think he's mobile enough. You got to be mobile enough for Kyle.
Yep.
So Trask is on the table. Mac Jones, certainly. Yep. I think Kellen Mond is, because he really does want to stay in the pocket. He just has some juice when he rolls out. I don't know what Kyle would think of Trey Lance. I have a feeling I know what he thinks of Justin Fields.
Yeah.
And the last guy that's interesting is Davis Mills. Because Davis Mills actually can move a little bit. You don't think he can. I think he ran a 4.58 today at his pro day, which is fast. Mm-hmm. If he's really going to be the top guy on day 2, I could see the Niners looking at him as being someone. I mean, if they like Flacco, they like Mills, no?
Yeah, I would think so. I didn't watch Mills' pro day today. Did you watch it at all?
No, I heard he ran a 4.58 though.
Yeah, I heard the same thing. I'm just curious to see how he looked. I get he's throwing against air, but there's always a lot of hype around those things. So I'll have to watch.
He's got hype from high school because he was like the number 1 quarterback coming out of high school. He could have gone to any school. He picked Stanford. Mistake.
Yeah.
Imagine if he had gone to Alabama. He probably would have been playing over Mac Jones because of the recruiting hype. And everyone succeeds at Alabama. Every quarterback does. So his stock would be different. Mac Jones' stock would be different. I understand why people are interested in him, but still 13 games. You're still going off of his high school hype. So maybe you like the way he plays. I like him, but with the 46th third pick, would you take him with the 43rd pick?
Not. And the other thing too is 13 games against not the best competition.
That's right.
It's not like he was in the SEC. The Pac-12 is not what we remember the Pac-12 being, at least when I was growing up. So Pac-12 is kind of easy nowadays. So I'm not with it. Again, he's another guy that a lot of people are putting ahead of Trask, which I think is absolutely crazy, but hey, it is what it is. Here we are.
Yeah, it seems to me that even if you like Davis Mills' physical talents, and I think he probably has a lot of them, he's going to need a ton of development. 13 starts in college, a ton of development. Yeah, he just doesn't have the reps. Waruna says Flacco equals disguise to hide interest in Watson. We're not talking about Watson tonight, but that's an interesting situation. Raymond Martinez says, let's talk about that first round pick. I got us taking cornerback Horn if Dallas doesn't take him. Who you guys got? Real quick, who are you thinking now?
JC Horn's been the guy that I've wanted the whole time. So for me, but I don't want him at 12. I do want to trade back a few spots and pick up some extra capital. And I do believe that Horn would be there at 15, 16. So I think that we can make that move. But I'm with you. Horn is the guy that I absolutely want to take.
Yeah, I like Horn a lot. Barry, a baller 18 says Mills has thrown more passes than Trey Lance. Yeah, Trey Lance scares the hell out of me. Yeah. Lance is going in round 1. Mills is going to go in round 2.
Right.
I can see why Mills has buzz, but I still don't get why Kyle Trask doesn't. What more did Kyle Trask have to do? Did he need to throw 50 touchdown passes, 60 touchdown? If you don't throw 60 touchdown passes now, you're just not good enough.
Mills has thrown more passes than Trey Lance, and fun fact, they both threw more at their pro day than they did in their college career. So,
all right, can you explain to folks the manifestation of Trent Williams' ego? It was a nice little detail you found.
Yeah. So it was funny to me as I was looking over the contract. and I saw this little extra number at the end. And what does that equate to? But $1 more per year than the highest paid left tackle in the game. And I thought to myself, the whole time, if the 49ers were going to offer 4 years, $80 million, the whole time, that was never going to be enough. He had it in his mind that he is the best left tackle in the game, and he wanted to prove that with this contract. So much so, with so much pettiness, that he had to make $1 more per season than the highest paid guy just to prove that he's worth it.
Just $1.
Just $1.
Yeah. So that's I guess enough. When he wanted to see what his market was, what his value was in the market, well, he saw. He knew what it was.
Yeah.
What's David Bakhtiari making? I need to make one more. Oh, who's it? Ronnie Stanley? Who is it?
Stanley or Bakhtiari? Stanley. I don't remember which one, but yeah, $1 more per season.
That is very interesting. Well, God love him. If you really feel you're the best at something, then get paid for it. I would want $1 more than freaking Vish if it came down to it. So I get it. Real quick, we got a question. It's interesting. Oh crap! Niners just signed Mack to a 3-year deal. I was not expecting Mack's deal to be a 3-year deal, but I'm looking in my inbox, and the Niners say the San Francisco 49ers today announced they have signed Alex Mack to a 3-year deal. Now I'm sure they're out.
It's got to be an out after year 1. There's no way. There's
3-year deal. Without looking at the details, what is your knee-jerk reaction to this move? Alex Mack, 3 years.
It has to be, like I said, there has to be an out after 1 year. There's no way that you expect him. He's going to be, 36 when the season starts or before it ends?
Yeah.
No. That cannot be a legit 3-year deal. It has to be just like the others. There has to be an out after year 1.
Yeah, I wonder though. I mean, a lot of what's his face? Trent Williams is signed till he's 38. Now Alex Mack is signed till he's 38. Are they really thinking that the great offensive linemen can last that long? Are they really going to build this offensive line around 30-year-olds? Man, well, I guess so. I guess it worked out for the Rams. They had Andrew Whitworth, who's like 45, but
yeah,
I don't know. 3-year deal. See, that's the thing. We keep being like, well, they'll draft a center. Nah, man. I think they think Alex Mack is the truth. I think they think that he's basically the same guy he always was, and they wanted to lock themselves in. I hope this doesn't backfire, because if it does, it's like, what were you thinking? Like 35? Okay.
This was exactly what got me into some hot water. Thanks for the retweet, by the way, with the how we've pushed back every single contract this year. And eventually we're going to have to pay the piper. And people were all up in arms about what the cap number was that I came up with or what have you. But the bottom line is this: we keep getting older. Everybody that we signed a 30-year-old corner, a 33-year-old left tackle, and a 36-year-old center. We were already the 4th oldest team in the league. We've pushed all of their contracts back, which means that as they age, we're going to be paying them more. We're going to be more up against the cap. It's not a good situation.
All right, let's get into the next topic then. That's a good place to transition. The Niners clearly want to run it back. Last year, they also wanted to run it back. That is their thing. They say they lose the Super Bowl, and they're like, you know what? You held Bosa on 3rd and 15. We really should have won. So we're going to run it back and prove that we were the best team. Then you go 6 and 10, and it's like, yeah, well, Bosa got hurt. And a lot of people got hurt. So we're going to run it back one more time and prove to everyone that we were the best team. It's kind of what you do when you're getting punked on the basketball court.
Right.
It's like, no, man, run it back. I don't care.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but we got another 5 waiting. You don't get to run it back. Yeah.
How many times in a row do you need to lose before Johnny gets his chance?
Right.
So do you like this approach to run it back? Do you understand it?
I don't. I never liked it. My whole offseason plan included doing everything but running it back. And it's frustrating because a lot of 49er fans are so happy today. They're like, yes, we signed everybody that we wanted to re-sign, every single person. Isn't that what we wanted? And I'm like, well, yeah, that might be what you wanted. That might be what the team wanted.
Yeah.
That's not what I wanted. I think it's a horrible decision. Again, we're aging. We were already the 4th oldest team in the league. We already have injury issues. Why would that get better with age? Why are we re-signing a bunch of guys that are in their mid-30s at this point. It doesn't make any sense to me. I think it is the worst plan. And by the way, what are we running back at this point? A 6-10 season? That's what we're running back.
Or you're trying to recreate 2019, which again was not a championship season. I know they felt that they came close and Nick Bosa got held and yada, yada, yada. You didn't win. You lost by 10 points. You got outscored 21 to freaking nothing in the fourth quarter of the most important game of your season. Don't act like you're the real champs.
Right.
You're not.
Right.
You're freaking not. What you needed to do was find a way to improve. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about that later. I just feel like the whole notion of running it back is a myth. You don't run it back. Your team changes. Buckner's gone. Yeah. Bourne is gone. You don't run it back. You try to keep it together as much as you can. But if your goal is to keep it together, are you really improving? Are you really getting younger?
The problem is let's look at Kansas City. They are doing a lot to rework that roster. They just won a Super Bowl. They just were in a Super Bowl the year after. If any team could just stand pat and run it back, it's them.
Right.
But they're changing things constantly. They're trying to get better.
And
we're trying to run it back.
And why is that? Because standing pat's a mistake.
It is.
For any team.
Yep.
For any person, once you stand pat in a competitive field, you get passed fast. The NFL is not a bunch of teams like planning for 7 years from now. They're all trying to make moves now. Look at the Patriots. They just spent like $250 million to make their move now because Tom Brady showed them up.
Yep. And by the way, the Buccaneers are doing the same thing, and I thought that was a mistake. I thought they should have let Godwin leave. Personally, I thought he was expendable, and then they could take that money and put it in other places. But I don't know. I guess if any team
when
could
they
run
don't
it back,
win the Super Bowl next season, you can look at that because these
right.
teams usually don't win back to back. How many teams have won back to back in your lifetime? The Patriots did it like 20 years ago.
Yep.
The Broncos did it. The Cowboys did it. It happens every maybe 5-10 years, but it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, not very often at all.
Dylan says, how you feel about the division opponent free agent moves? That we're building up. We're building up, Dylan. I appreciate it. You're reading our minds on that one.
Yeah, you are.
Okay. We already touched on this a little bit, but let's sink our teeth into it. Are the 49ers better now than they were 1 year ago?
On paper, yeah, slightly.
Where's the improvement? I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just trying
offensive line. Offensive line.
Mack is an improvement.
Yeah.
And Samson Ebukam is an improvement over Cohn.
Yeah. I would say offensive line, and I would say pass rusher depth. I would argue corner too. I know that K1 hasn't re-signed, and we don't have a nickel corner yet. I believe that we will get one, but I would say corner too, because we don't have Sherman to hamstring us and keep us in cover 3 and cover 4.
Oh, I like
for as good as he is.
I like that. Yeah, it's true.
So
that's addition by subtraction.
Yes. Yeah. So I would say we are slightly better on paper, but
as you mentioned,
noise.
It's an older team that just got older.
Yep.
It's a lot of injury-prone players still. Jimmy Garoppolo's still on the team. I guess it is slightly better, but not much. It's basically the same team plus Mack and Ebukam minus Bourne and K1 and Akello.
Yeah.
So half a dozen, 6 to whatever. Not the same. It's all going to come down to injuries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is going to come down to injuries. And that's, again, 49ers Twitter was lighting me up today, but that's all I heard. Well, do you realize how injured we were? Yeah, I do. Do you realize that it's not going to improve? It's not going to improve with the plan that we have in place and the plan that we're executing.
Yeah, injury-prone players magically are going to not be injury-prone anymore? I don't think so.
Right.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Maybe they recreated what they had, and if they stay healthy, they'll be pretty good. But they missed an opportunity to get better. Like, for example, they brought in Alex Mack, 5-year-old, going to be 36-year-old center, locked him up till he's 33.
Right.
That's a cool move. I mean, it's an improvement, and he fits your scheme. What about Rodney Hudson? Cost a 3rd-round pick, and you don't take him, and now he goes to Arizona. Okay.
Yeah.
What about Gabe Jackson? Not a center, but also plays a position you need to improve. Hell of a player. Cost a 5th.
Yeah.
You didn't want him.
Yep.
So he goes to the Seahawks. They improve. Your desire to pretty much kind of play it safe, allows 2 of your division rivals to improve. That's how other teams approach these things. But the Niners are like, nah, we got a family here, man.
Yeah.
Got a family here. We got it. I don't know. It makes me uncomfortable. I feel like they're trying to say like it projects confidence. We believe in ourselves. I'm not impressed. Improve your team.
I'm not either. I'm not either. And you talked about Rodney Hudson, but what about Lindsley? He was out there the whole time.
Yeah.
And he didn't sign. Honestly, the contract that he got was not near as big as what I thought. I think it annually came down to around 12 a year. I thought he would easily be in the $17 million range.
Yeah.
That's what Thuney got. So I figured it would be exactly the same. It wasn't a lot. We could have had Lindsley.
And they were interested. They were reportedly interested, and they let the Chargers take him. He wasn't that expensive. Who else? John Brown, the wide receiver, cheap. Desmond King, cheap. Mitchell Trubisky, cheap. Instead, it's like, now let's bring back DJ Jones again. I like DJ Jones.
I do too.
Come on. I mean, there's a few of these guys that that the Niners have become emotionally attached with, that have been with them through the beginning for you. You know what? Sorry, man. It's a business. I don't know if DJ Jones was the one who had to go, but you know what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah. I think you and I had this conversation a while ago, but the 49ers are the kings, the absolute kings of acting like they want everybody and getting nobody. They do it. They do it all the time. They do it when they're talking trades. They're always interested in somebody, but they never land them. They've done it again in free agency. How many guys have they been interested in that signed for cheap that easily could have came to San Francisco that they never actually pursued? Or I don't know. It's strange.
See, so people in the comment section are saying we're being haters. Here's the way I look at it. Every year, Niner fans get really excited at free agency because it's all about hope. And what's the point of being pessimistic at this time of year? But it's like going out with your buddies to the bar, which is something you used to do back in the day before the pandemic. And they're really drunk. They got the drunk goggles on. They meet a girl. They say, I'm taking her home, man. She's great. And you're like, dude, I'm just telling you. I'm telling you, you don't want to do this. It's a mistake. And they're like, dude, why are you hating, man? It's none of your business, man. Leave me alone. And they hit you up the next morning. And you're like, dude, you were right, man. Oh my God. What was I thinking? I'm like, hey, man, I'm your friend. I'm looking out for you. And you're like, the friend's like, hey, man, I will listen to you from now on. Go back out the next week. The same thing happens. And I'm like, I hate to be that guy in the back of the bar who's not drinking. And Brian like, dude, man, you know what? It's not what you want to do. You're like, just leave me alone. That's how I feel. It's like, all right, I'll be that guy. I'll be that guy. But you know I'm right. You can come back to me the next day, and I got it in writing. So anyway,
forgive the pessimism. But again, as I stated last week, as a fan, my job is to root for the product on the field when the season starts. That's what your job is too. So I know that you want to drink the Kool-Aid and think everything is great and we're going to win a championship and we're going to be healthy. But that's not our job. We can talk about these things in the offseason. We can speculate. We can talk about who we want. This is what fans actually should do. Drinking the Kool-Aid and sitting back and saying, oh, let the GMs do GM things and the coaches do coaches things. I hate that response more than anything. Guess what? If that's what we did, this show wouldn't exist, and neither would any of the forums that you jump into. So this is what we do. We get to speculate. This is what it's all about. This is a fun part of being a fan.
That's right. That's right. And yeah, that's it. Tony Clay says, could we just trade Bosa 2 firsts for Watson? Would that be too rich for us to do? I don't even know what's going on with Watson anymore, man.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
The whole Watson thing's a mess.
All you can say about the Watson thing right now is it's probably on hold for the league. How does any team call up and be like, yeah, we'll do it right now?
No.
We have no idea what's going on with that, but let's do it now.
No way. No way.
So,
I mean, this guy, I hate to say it because Watson is, to me, perceives to be one of the nicer guys and better guys in the league. So I don't know what's going on.
Let me tell you right now, as a journalist who covers these guys, you don't know them.
You don't have any idea.
You have no idea. No idea.
Right.
So when you say he seems nice,
he perceives to be, yes.
But he does. Yes. He's very clean cut, and he's been in the public eye forever, since college, and handled it very well.
Right. But the big but is now is not the time. We've got to let that dust settle.
It's not one girl like with Ben Roethlisberger. It appears to be 6. One of the 3 lawsuits so far is upsetting. I don't know if that's the word. It's Yeah. And the thing, it feels like it's just getting started. So teams are going to have to wait and see. Yeah. And it could be BS. I have no idea.
Right.
Maybe this is the kind of thing you're a target of when you're 25 and worth $1 billion. Or maybe this is who he is. I just don't know. We'll have to find out more. Yeah. It's like usually though, like if it happened, if it doesn't happen, there's an NDA agreement and it goes away. If it's 6 people, it may not be NDA. So we'll have to see. I just don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that the first wave of free agency is over, where do you think the 49ers stand in the NFC West, given all the moves the other teams have made?
So the NFC West, to me, 1 to 4 could be separated by as little as 2 games. That's how tight that I think it is. I think if you break it down position group by position group, oh God, that's terrible. If you break it down position group by position group, you can make an argument that the Niners have the best O-line in the division. You can make the argument that they have the best defense in the division. You can even make the argument that they have the best weapons in the division. But what is not arguable is where Jimmy Garoppolo stands in the division, and that's number 4. And that position is so crucial that even if you are the best in all those other positions, you're not the best team in the division. Right now, I would say they're fighting for that second place spot, but there's no guarantee.
Yeah, I mean, even if they are healthy, I don't think they're better than any team in the NFC West. I'm not saying they're definitely worse than – they're definitely the 4th place team, but
no.
Are they definitely better than Seattle when healthy? No. Are they definitely better than the Rams when healthy? The Rams now with Matthew Stafford. Well, I guess we'll have to see what that looks like. It's possible. The Niners beat the Rams twice last year, but I'm freaking skeptical. And then the Cardinals are the team in the division that's making the biggest push.
Yeah.
They're entering year 3 with Kyler Murray. They saw what Josh Allen just did in year 3. That's what you do when you have these uber talented quarterbacks on these cheap. You got to make a move. The guys they brought in are a little old. I mean, J.J. Watt was better 5 years ago, 7 years. Same with A.J. Green, but intriguing nonetheless. They're at least swinging for the fences. The Niners are kind of bunting down the third baseline. No, it's not fair. But they're swinging up the middle. I just can't say that the Niners are definitely better than any of those 3 teams, even when healthy.
The thing is that there's so many what ifs with the Niners. That's the problem. There's more what ifs with the Niners roster than there is any other team in the division.
Yep.
So if they are healthy, what if they are healthy? What if Jimmy returns to his 2019 form? Sure. If all those things happen, yeah, we could easily win the division. But that's too many question marks. You cannot go on what ifs.
Yeah. And I feel like it really comes, if everyone's healthy, it comes back to Jimmy. A lot of people give him a pass last year. Like, well, he was hurt. When he's healthy, he can play like he did in 2019, and the Niners will win 13 games. I don't think that's exactly what happened last year. I think what happened is he also played poorly. He played poorly against Arizona, against Seattle, against Miami. I think the book is out on him. I think it got really exposed in the playoffs. Minnesota, Green Bay didn't get to defend the pass, but Minnesota, Kansas City, you just pack the middle of the field and dare him to throw outside the numbers, dare him to throw deep, and he can't dare him to scramble. You know what I mean? Just play basically cover 1 with a underneath defender to take away all that stuff and say, you got one-on-ones outside, buddy. You got clear scramble lanes, buddy. What are you going to do? You're going to throw passes into traffic over the middle, aren't you? Because that's all you can do. I think it's the book on him. And what's he going to do to beat that? Run? No. Throw downfield? No. I think he's got a big problem. The book's out on him. And now, I mean, the book's out on every player at a certain point. Yeah, he's been hanging out. He still only has like 35 starts. It's out on him. And what are you going to do to respond?
Right. Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, even people that are staunch Jimmy G supporters have to admit that the man in his best season had 27 total touchdowns and 20 total turnovers. And let's be honest, there was easily 7 to 10 picks more that he could have had that season that were dropped.
Oh, he's
a turnover machine. And that, by the way, is with him averaging one of the lowest air yards per attempt in the league.
And not even really throwing that many passes.
No.
It's a run-first team. There are games where they'll run 30, 40, 50 times, and he's still good for like 1 or 2 plays a game, and you're like, what was that?
Yep.
So, yeah, as long as Jimmy Garoppolo is the quarterback, I don't believe in this team. And I think the disconnect is when people think, well, hey, man, when they're healthy, that's a 13-3 club. No, it's not, because of Jimmy. The book is out. And I don't even know if the guy's really healthy. He seems like he hasn't been healthy.
I don't know if he really wants to play football.
That's it. I know he wants to take notes, dude. He takes some copious notes. He seems like the kind of guy in school that had like one of those pens that had like different colors, and you could press it down and be green, you would press it down and be blue, and you could like color code it all. And he would still get like a C- on the test. It was like, Jimmy, how did you do that? You were so prepared. So prepared. You still got a C-.
If she doesn't know what that pen is, she's too young for you. but back on Jimmy, just real quick. Yes, I'm sure the chat's going crazy. Of course he wants to play football, otherwise he'd retire. No. He wants to get paid, and he wants to be a football player. But I want to know, when things get tough and he's nicked up, does he want to play football? Does he have heart to play football? That's what I want to know. For me, that's what interests me in players.
I just want to say that no one in the chat section has Jimmy's back.
Okay.
You don't worry about it. Everyone's like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. No, so I was like, when things are going great, he's out there. He's got a front runner. He came from New England. He's used to winning all the time. 2019 was fun. 2020 was a grind, and he bounced. Yep. He bounced. Where were you? I mean, you're the captain of the team. You're supposed to be – there should have been a story. Jimmy Garoppolo insists he wants to play the final 2 weeks of the season. Niners shut him down. And he comes out and it's like, I'm really uncomfortable with this. I'm a captain. I have to be out there for my teammates, and they're not letting me play, and I just doesn't sit right. He should have said all that stuff. Yeah. Instead, what's he doing? It's not good enough, Jimmy. It's just not good enough. You're not 24. You're not Tom Brady's heir apparent. You've pocketed $100 million from this franchise, and you're still learning? You're still, nah. You should have been out there.
He wasn't even in Niners gear, was he?
Oh, that's a really good point.
I honestly, I could be wrong about that, but I swear I remember thinking while that was happening, I'm like, he's not even rocking Niners gear.
Do you think this team improved the O-line with vets to make a run with a rookie QB? No, they want to make a run with Joe Flacco. Haven't you guys been watching the show?
He is the Jets quarterback that we've been coveting all along. It was never Darnold. It's always been Flacco.
Joe Flacco. He is better than Darnold.
He is better.
When he played, they were better.
Better. Yes.
They were better.
He was.
Yes.
Yep.
That's hella funny.
Yeah, the O-line's improved. The O-line's improved, but I don't think that Kyle wants to turn over the reins of this offense to a rookie. I just don't see it.
What about Matt Ryan after June 1?
Didn't they just restructured him? I'm pretty sure. I don't think they can trade him now. It'll be like a $40 million cap hit.
Oof. All right, let's get to the thing that we build it as. That's not English. The 49ers remaining moves. They have about 13, maybe a little bit more cap space. I don't think anyone really knows until the D Ford thing's official. But 13, 14, 15 million in cap space. Maybe 8 million they need to earmark for rookies, maybe less, depending on if they trade those. What do you think the Niners can pull off, should be looking to do right now? Joe Flacco aside, because we all like that.
Yeah, Joe Flacco. I'm curious to know what everybody in the chat thinks here, but I think the biggest need that we have is nickel corner. And I've just told everybody multiple times that we're an aging team, and I do not want to bring back K1. He's injured. He's going to be 30. I don't think that's the right move.
I think they agree with you on that because there seems to be no movement. I don't know. Movement. That's the word.
Why isn't he with the Jets yet? That's surprising to me.
Hey, we don't know Robert Saleh. You know, Robert Saleh's an aw shucks. These players are so great. K1's so great. Maybe privately he's like, I made K1. Look what I did with Jamar Taylor. I don't need to spend $5 million. You just don't know how these people are.
Yeah, that's true. No, that's very true.
That's what Kyle's like. He just doesn't shy. He doesn't hide it. Saleh's very political.
Yes, absolutely. So for me, I want to bring in a guy. I don't know what's going on there. I want to bring in a guy that can play nickel corner, and that's what he's designed to do. But he can also kick to the outside if we have injuries. I want to bring in a guy that's younger than K1.
I like that.
Justin Coleman.
I like that.
That's who I want to bring in.
He was. Sell me on Justin Coleman.
Yeah. So when he was with Seattle a couple years ago, I believe he was the number 1 rated PFF, and a lot of people don't put a ton of stock into it, but there's something to be said about it. He was the number 1 rated PFF nickel corner for Seattle. He went over to the Lions, and we know that was a complete dumpster fire over there. He was brought in to be a nickel corner, but when they had tons of injuries, he kicked outside and played pretty decent. He's got the build to play either or, and he showed that he can be effective in both spots. Again, he is more of a nickel corner, but if we have injuries, I can see him sliding to the outside and helping out there as well.
Okay, here's what we're going to do. You lay out what you think the ideal remaining moves are, and I'll react to them. And not whether I like them or not, because I'm going to like them. I like this already. Not, it's do I think the Niners will take your advice? Or what do I think they're going to do?
Okay.
I think they're not going to sign Justin Coleman.
Okay.
I think they're going to draft a nickel, and I base that on the fact that they should have still had DJ Reed. That should be their nickel. The fact that they let him go and that he's now the starting outside corner for the Seahawks is embarrassing for them. And they need to do something about that. So what they could do, if they sign Justin Coleman, they can do that. Or they could just draft the guy and be like, well, this was our plan all along. We didn't like DJ Reed. This was our plan all along. We wanted to take a nickel in round 1 at 12th pick or something like that. I don't know. Maybe not the 12th pick.
Well, I think the question is, do they think that Emmanuel Mosley can play nickel?
Possible. And you mentioned a guy who can kick outside. Well, that's kind of him.
Yeah. So if they think Emmanuel Mosley can kick inside and be effective there, then maybe. What's that say? No,
this one is, would you go corner or quarterback with our first pick based on our current moves?
I'm still going corner. Because I'm a Kyle Trask guy, and I know that Kyle Trask is going to either be there late round 1 to where we can trade back in and get that 5th-year option, or he's going to fall all the way to us in round 2. So for me, I like
Mosley better in the slot than outside. He competes outside, but he's just not.
He did play there a little bit last year.
Yes.
And then there was the whole weird thing where they just took him completely out when K1 came back. I don't know.
That's right.
And play. Didn't they choose to play Spoon, who is now not even on the team? Like what was that?
That's true. They did explain that one.
And if K1 was a guy that you weren't planning on bringing back, shouldn't you have played Mosley at the nickel spot then to see if he could? I don't know.
Only thing I can guess is that there's a difference of opinion between Saleh and Shanahan, between Witherspoon and Mosley. Maybe. I get the feeling that Saleh loves Witherspoon and was the reason that Witherspoon kept getting chances. And Shanahan was the one eventually who was like, I don't trust this dude anymore. You're out. Yeah. So
that's a possibility.
And I think the Brian Allen fiasco was more of a Shanahan thing than the Saleh thing. But I don't know. I don't know. Okay, keep going with the ideal move. I cut you off. Let's keep going.
So a guy that I've been talking about since you came on my show about 6 weeks ago or so is Cordarrelle Patterson.
Love him.
We need somebody that can be a kick returner for us and a punt returner for us.
Yeah.
First and foremost. But we also need somebody on the roster in case Debo gets injured. Or I should say when Debo misses a game or two. And hopefully that's all he misses.
That's his pattern.
So for me, Cordarrelle Patterson, he's going to be cheap. He's somebody that we can probably still wait on to sign. But I think that he is a perfect fit for what we want to do on offense so that if somebody goes down, we still have that gadget player that can keep the offense rolling. But more importantly, we start winning on special teams because that is how you can also pick up an extra game or so during the regular season is winning on special teams. And that's not something that we've been doing a very good job at the last few years.
Right. Yeah, I love that. I'm in with Cordarrelle Patterson. Seems like a guy who would take not much more than the veteran minimum. It wouldn't be expensive to bring him on.
It won't be a lot.
He would really help your special teams and give you someone who can run those jet sweeps, and he can even play running back. I mean, he's exactly the kind of player that they hoped Jalen Hurd would be. I mean, come on. He should be on this team. Yeah, I like that one. Yeah.
And I would say the final.
Will they sign him?
Yeah,
no. You know why? Because Kyle Shanahan loves drafting wide receivers. It's his favorite thing to do. Yeah. And I think there's probably 2, maybe 1, but there's he drafts 2 a year. He can't help himself.
Yeah,
he cannot help himself. So there's probably 2 right now that he's like, oh man, I gotta have them. So okay, I like the Cordarrelle. I would do the Patterson thing too, but he's going to draft a wide receiver.
You're right. And the other thing too is that he likes drafting gadget guys.
Yes, he does.
Heard.
Yes, he does.
So,
and Patterson was the original gadget guy.
yeah.
So they just want to get probably that. But hey, they should get him. Kyle, I know you're watching.
The last move that I want to make is it's not necessarily bringing in a free agent, but it is trading for somebody that is most likely going to be on the market. That is Anthony Miller. So he's in the last year of his deal with the Bears. They said that they are most likely shopping him. It won't take probably more than a fourth or a fifth to get him. And he plays that slot position that we need very desperately right now.
Works for me.
Anthony Miller is a guy that I want to go after.
Works for me. They definitely need to address that number 3 wide receiver position, because although they're not a 3 wide receiver team, Kendrick, that number 3 receiver, will play much more than Kyle Juszczyk.
Yeah.
Kendrick Bourne always played much more than Kyle Juszczyk. That's a really important player. And Ayuk missed 4 games last year. Debo missed like 11 games last year. That number 3 receiver has to be a starting caliber player, because he's going to start 5, 6, 7, 8 games. Anthony Miller qualifies. I think there was a reason that the Niners were linked to Juju Smith-Schuster. I think there was something there. They seem to be linked to good starting caliber wide receivers. They haven't gotten any, but maybe Anthony Miller qualifies. Will they trade for Anthony Miller? I wouldn't necessarily say they won't. Maybe that's a guy the Niners coveted in the draft a few years ago, and they feel like this is their opportunity. Kind of like, I always got the feeling that Kyle wanted to draft Jerick McKinnon, didn't get an opportunity, and was like, okay, now I'm going to get him. And that worked out well. So maybe, no, he's nothing like Jerick McKinnon. He's really good. No, that would be a good one. Maybe. I think of all the ones you've presented, this is the one that has the best chance to happen, because maybe Kyle liked him coming out.
Yeah.
Awesome. But I still think Kyle
like I
has
said,
wide receivers.
more likely than not, they'll probably trade for N'Keal Harry.
Ooh, that's exciting. I did hear that they really liked him coming out.
Yeah, they definitely did.
Yeah. I like that plan.
I've got one more.
Okay.
I've got one more, but we can read the comment if you'd like.
Okay, well, Deathwish says, what do you think about Justin Fields, and would you trade up, and how much would you give up to trade for him? It doesn't really matter what we think of him. What do we think Kyle thinks of Justin Fields?
I don't think that Kyle's interested. He's not. Everything he's done to this point tells us he's not interested. He's brought in slow-footed, big quarterbacks.
Yep.
Justin Fields is not that. He's very athletic. I just don't think he fits the mold. I don't think he fits the mold. And especially if you're talking about a trade up, again, 2 things that we've said throughout the whole time that we've been doing this segment or show or what have you is, 1, he doesn't fit the mold. And 2, with that first pick in the first round, his MO is not to trade up. It's to trade back or stay put. He will trade back into the first round, but he's definitely not going to trade up in that pick.
Does Josh Johnson indicate some type of departure from what Kyle Shanahan is looking for?
Yeah, he could. I mean, they brought him in. They were kind of desperate last year. We thought
desperation.
Yeah. We thought maybe, this is the precursor. This is his way of dipping his toes in the water and seeing if this is the type of quarterback he wants to go with. Well, if that was the case, he has shut the door with a resound. Heck no, that's not what I want to go with.
Yeah. All right, finish up your ideal moves.
Last move, and I know it goes against what I've been saying of bringing back your own guys and running it back, but I think Kerry Hyder is going to be extremely cheap.
I like that. Why would you not bring back Kerry Hyder?
In my opinion, they should have signed him before they did DJ Jones.
I agree. I agree. The guy gives you 8-something sacks. He plays his ass off all year. I mean, no defensive lineman played harder than him. No. He missed no games? I don't know. Why would you not bring him back? It worked with him.
I don't know.
It worked.
There's no way that Ford is somebody that you can rely on. I don't think that they believe that Ford is going to play again. And a lot of people were hoping that maybe that was the case when they restructured him. I think that was more of them saying that they knew he's not going to play and they wanted to kick his money back just so that they could find a replacement. And by the way, the money that they saved for him is pretty much what they signed Ebucom for.
Yep. So look, the moves that you've just laid out aren't too ambitious. Kyle, John, if you're watching, you still got time. Be ashamed to let Kerry Hyder go somewhere for like $1.5 million, $2 million.
Right.
I think the things that we've laid out are reasonable. Before the show ends, I think we should talk real quickly about the Deshaun thing.
Okay.
I've just been looking. It's 9 women now, and so we're not going to speculate. Well, if it's 9, is he guilty? That's not the direction I want to take it. Let's put ourselves in the perspective of the league office. What do you do? What do you do right now? You have to start your own investigation, right? That's what they do. They have an independent investigation. That's standard.
That's first and foremost.
Yes.
I don't know.
And then the question is like, is he suspended while the investigation's going on, or no? Maybe, innocent until proven guilty. We'll do our investigation. The investigation could take a year. It could take 18 months.
Yeah.
But then if we find out you did something, you could be placed on the personal conduct policy comes into play. He could be suspended for 8 games or more or less.
Yeah.
That could be where this is going. So that's why I feel like we're not going to see a Watson trade for a while.
I think luckily for him, this is in the offseason, and actually luckily for the league, because if this was in the season, I think that 9 women,
have to shut him down.
They'd have to shut him down. They'd absolutely have to shut him down. Between now and when the season starts, they'll be able to gather hopefully enough information to figure out kind of where this is trending. Yes. And based off of that, they may suspend, they may not.
But if some team was hoping to get Deshaun Watson before the draft, if the Texans were hoping to get 8 assets for Watson, you may just get nothing for Watson. Imagine from the Texans' perspective. Not only can you not trade him, he can't play. He's going to be on some exempt list this year while theoretically, while information is gathered, you don't have draft picks to replace him. Yeah. They go like 0-6, 0-17. They'll find a way to go 0-18 somehow. That's bleak. That Houston team, awful. I guess they brought it on themselves.
There was speculation that somehow this was an inside job because
I never understood that logic. This hurts them the most.
That's reverse. That's the reverse of what they would want. You would want to hold this tight until he was traded, and you would rush to trade him if that was the case. If you had insider information, you wouldn't release this right now. You would wait till he's traded.
Or this theory that this is a smear campaign and it's not even real. Again,
no.
This makes the Texans look bad. Yep. Best case scenario, they keep him and they look bad for not listening to 9 potential victims. Right. Worst case scenario is they have to cut him and they don't even get to trade him. I don't see how this benefits. To me, this is the worst news for the Texans. I mean, the Niners could be disappointed. Other teams could be disappointed. The Texans have to be like having a panic attack, calling up Roger Goodell and being like, where do we stand? Can we trade him? Can we not? Is he going to be suspended? Is he not? And what can Goodell tell him? Hey, well, we're learning as much as you guys are. We'll let you know. I don't know.
Lawyer is friends with the front office and all similar stories from the women. Or it's just possibly true. Again, what did the Texans gain from this? Do you think they really want to suppress his career? No way. There's no way.
So let me just, because maybe it's possible. I don't know. So let me try to play this out. Okay, the Texans are mad at Deshaun Watson. He's forcing his way out of town and it seems like he's going to win. So what they say is, you know what? If we ruin his character and get 9 women to lie, pay off 9 women, then he won't be able to force his way out of town. Yeah, okay. He probably won't be able to play football ever again either.
Right.
So what did you do? Okay, well now no one gets Deshaun Watson, and we don't get to trade him either. Now we don't get 8 first-round picks. I don't think that's what they wanted. I don't see how this helps them. Now you have to play for us, and now you have to stay here and play, and everyone thinks you're a monster, and everyone thinks we're the worst organization in sports. Great, we won.
It literally makes 0 sense. That is the worst thing you can do. Yeah. You're not going to cut off your nose and spite your face. I know that the Texans are pretty dumb, but they're not that crazy. Like that is so outlandish.
This doesn't mean that the 9 women aren't lying. I don't know.
For sure.
It's hard to believe a conspiracy where the Texans got 9 women to lie, and they're behind all of this, like, you know, the Wizard of Oz or something. That seems like a stretch. I'm not saying he's guilty though, because God forbid if 9 women are lying, that would be just a horrible thing to go through, to wake up to 9 people trying to ruin your life. I don't know, but there needs to be a lot of information fact finding that goes on the next 4 weeks. This is very interesting. It seems like every 24 hours there's 3 more women. It's really, really disconcerting.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Again, he perceives to be one of the best guys in the league. I pray that it's not true for his sake, for really the women's sake, that none of this actually happened. But with that said, you cannot possibly, knowing that this is out there, as a fan, want that trade to happen right now. Like, this is the worst possible time. Now is not the time to be talking trade. This young man needs to figure out what's going on in his actual life and hopefully can get his career reined back in, and this doesn't turn into something that could be absolutely horrible. But there has to be a resolution before we can even think about the football aspect of any of this.
And if he's innocent, this is one of the most awful attempts of extortion I've ever seen. And if he's guilty, he should not be in the NFL.
No, absolutely not.
Should not be in the NFL. So we'll see what happens.
If he's guilty, he won't be in the NFL. I would be hard pressed to believe that he will be. But again,
what's interesting though is that these are all civil suits. He's not being charged with a crime. It's very interesting, and I really don't have any expertise in law. I have very little expertise in football. I think I probably have no business making money in America, but here I am. So we'll see what happens. I submit that there is definitely a possibility that he's still innocent, and he's innocent until proven guilty in this.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just wanted to talk about it from the perspective of what does the league do? What do the Niners do? Not a moral stance, but more of a pragmatic stance. Yeah. What do you do when you don't freaking know? Because we don't freaking know. Anyway. Thanks so much for watching tonight and indulging our plans. We were a little negative, but that's okay. It's Niners After Dark. You guys are probably buzzing a little bit. You guys probably even forgot what we were talking about 25 minutes ago. We'll be back next week. We usually go Wednesday. We had to do an audible this week, but we'll be back next Wednesday, I think. So see you next Wednesday at 7. Jesse, if you don't follow Jesse, the link to his YouTube is in the description. Make sure you do that. Jesse,
thank you. I appreciate it, Grant.
Of course.